Welcome back! We're getting ready for a game number 5 between Team Liquid and Zealots, and it has been quite the nail-biter. Zealots showing some fire today, and Team Liquid showing some strats to shut down Hanzo. But it's all coming down to one last game. Who will get the win, Caldor?
No clue. Also don't care. To be honest, at this point, both of the teams definitely deserve it. It comes down to the last map. Both have shown some incredible play and some really cool drafts as well. So yeah, we saw Lunara come back today, for example. We have seen Malthael still sitting at 100% win ratio, 3-0. Again, small sample size, obviously, since we just started into HGC 2018. But still noteworthy that while he might not be the hero that you want to draft super early or maybe even first ban, that when he fits in those niche situations, he's performing extremely strong.
Fits like a shoe. Let's go to game number 5 here and figure out the battleground that we will be playing on to end this series. It is going to be Dragonshire, picked up by Team Liquid.
Yeah, Team Liquid with Dragonshire as their pick. And they played Dragonshire already once against the Leftovers. They won the series, and back then it was the pick of the Leftovers. So a bit of a different scenario, but Team Liquid still saying, we got this. It was actually the map where they had to defend against a very oppressive push on the side of the Leftovers. It was also one of the few times when they finally got Abathur through. So I would say that there's a high chance that Abathur again is banned early on now in the draft between the two teams here, especially of course since the Zealots also studied yesterday's games.
Yeah.
But it will make for an interesting match here, also because we haven't seen the Zealots on this map yet.
No, we have not. The map Dragonshire was actually Zealot's favored map last season, as they really enjoyed playing on the battleground, and splitting Zarmany being by himself in the top lane really allowed for the team to open up the battleground with the 4-man. Now that's when they had Poik, and they were running a lot of Chromie and Cassia, but they also have Chris, who can run both those heroes. Yeah,
it's also, again, I feel like the priority that we see on the side of the Zealots for Hanzo is pretty strong. And Team Liquid said several times, we feel the hero is someone that we cannot disrespect.
Sure.
But we have several strategies where we feel we can counter him if he finds himself in the opponent's side. And so far, I think the first priority is again going to be Abathur. And I feel that they are okay if ADRD picks up Hanzo again as long as they get their own draft here. I would still expect that Abathur is probably shut down early on here together.
For me, it's still about the ETC. We keep seeing him in the first couple of rotations. As you pointed out, Murden's been having a really hard time so far. Let's go into Dragonshire. If we were to get Murden, this is a battleground where he can do well because of his ability to gank that top lane.
I mean, Murden just won, and overall, it's not by any means a bad hero. It's just like, who do you combo him with? So in the setup, ETC definitely is currently stronger. It's still Arthur's that you can consider here as well. But when we're looking at bans, first we have Zealots with a ban against Genji. And that's not the question. Does Team Liquid ban Abathur again? And it looks like they will, which would leave Hanzo open.
Do we think Zealots would move straight into the Abathur? Do you think they could take the risk here and leave it up and get it themselves?
That's what they are currently thinking about you.
Yeah.
But Zealots would play Abathur 100%. Like, it's the question, do they play him here? Is that a situation where they would prioritize Abathur to that extent? And I think that's something that Team Liquid is debating now as well, where they are saying, hey, we want that hero. How much do we know about the Zealots? Do they pick him this early? Do they prioritize him? And they don't risk it. They just say, whatever happens, if they pick Abathur, we are in too much trouble. We don't want that. We don't want to go up against him. So let's make sure that we play this safe. It's the 5th map of the series. Let's ban him out here and then deal with whatever the Zealots throw against us, which could again be the early Hanzo pick.
Oh, Team Liquid's not risking it for the biscuit. They ban out the Abathur, and there is a Hanzo. ADRD will get him again for the 5th game of the series. They're going to put all of their hopes on this guy here. Dahaka and Greymane, the answer back for Team Liquid. So Eternal once again will be showing off his Dahaka that we got in game number 1 on Towers of Doom. And of course the Greymane too. So it's going to all pan down to this. How will Dahaka handle that top lane against Zarmany? That'll definitely be a matchup that we have to watch.
Yeah, and Greymane, again, it makes a lot of sense here. So when we're talking about the damage dealers, the highest priority is still on Genji, Hanzo, and Greymane. So if you don't get one, you're trying to opt for the other. We've seen Lunara come in as the second damage dealer. We've seen teams fight over Gul'dan, which has still a high priority here. And, of course, Li Ming as well. So mages in combo with auto attack damage dealers are definitely back. The Haka is adding that global spice to the setup for Team Liquid once more that allows them to play the macro game. Keep in mind that in this series so far, the teams with the Haka have done very, very well and dominated the macro game a lot. For Zealots, I would say we can expect at least ETC now to be taken. It seems that it is the go-to option for Mopsio over Arthas as well. And outside, oh, Johanna again. And still holding on with Rega. Okay, so Rega, again, involved in every single game, and he is the go-to healer for the Zealots, to a fault actually. But that they would opt for Johanna over ETC is still pretty interesting.
Yeah, guess I feel like the cleanse power is a little bit too strong. Hard to give it up. The Johanna, we've been over it, what she does well. Great on Dragonshire, clearing out the lanes. Do in the middle, the bottom side, can hold that front line, especially around the giant pushes. Now, something that we did see yesterday, which I really enjoyed from the leftovers, which I'm curious to see if we're going to get it against these teams, is the Knight camp and the Giant camp being used in tandem to push on the bottom lane. For Team Liquid, I feel like it'd be an advantage for them to try to go for that, because if it gets interrupted, Dahaka can come down and help them secure it, maybe get a kill, and then push him for the fort. So Zealots will have to keep an eye out for that, because it seems to be becoming a really big power play.
Yeah, I still feel that this yesterday was very beneficial to going up against an early Abathur and having the Zarya composition as well, which allowed them to go for that play in the first place. But overall, if you can set it up, then it's incredibly strong. So you're absolutely right on that. It's something where you have to keep a bit of an eye out to make sure that your opponent is not sneaking it in. So every time you see them move in there, you can just simply counter, move some heroes down and fight over it.
Gul'dan has been banned out, will not be available for this draft. Gul'dan would pair well with the Johanna, just making sure they never have to deal with any minions pushing their way.
I also think that this makes it very likely that Li Ming is going to be picked up for Team Liquid. Now, we've seen them with different setups here as well. Still thinking a bit about the Lunara play that we saw before, but that was in a double support setup too. So in this case, they could go for Li Ming if they don't want to opt for double support again. Question still is how the Zealots, on the other hand, are going to play this. Also want to see what impact Johanna is going to have here. Go immediately for the Li Ming ban, okay. I get that. I think they were thinking along the same lines here. If Team Liquid picks up Li Ming, then that would be a little bit too annoying. Together with Greymane, you get the poke and then you get to finish off heroes with Greymane. Want to avoid that.
So we'll be needing a main tank soon, as well as support soon. They can hold off from the support, as Zealots already have their Rhaegar. Tanks.
ETC, Arthas,
ETC still up?
3 big. ETC is up, Arthas is up. Both of them work really well here. Arthas you definitely consider, because there's still a chance that the Zealots say they're going into Arthas for the offlane together with Johanna. Since you are running Greymane, you have to think about that at least a bit.
Sure.
It can be in those team fights, but we've seen the impact that Billy had with ETC on the last map, so that's definitely something to think about too. It's unlikely that they take both, since they already have the Haka, and they leave it open. At this point, you can, simply because you have so many options still. I mean, no matter what the Zealots now pick, you still have a good option. If they pick, for example, ETC in conjunction with Johanna, you still have Arthas Mirrodin around. So they instead want to make sure that they get their choice of healer in this situation, and also Chromie for more poke damage.
The Chromie was clever too. What is the #1 tank that you want to have with a Chromie? You want Johanna on your side. And Zealots have Chris, who has known to run Chromie, especially on this battleground. With them having the Johanna hub, Li Ming banned out and Gul'dan banned out, they take away the Chromie, and now they take away a major option that Zealots could have actually transitioned into.
It's also a similar concept when you pair it with Greymane from what you are trying to achieve with Li Ming. Not quite the same, since you don't get the resets and you're not as much in the action where you can just, with the reset potential, just keep going. But you have the poke that Greymane can capitalize on. So that's at least one aspect of the combo that was denied to them that they can now utilize in this game.
Wow. Zealots will move into a Malthael, and we're looking for a character for Chris. Will it be Vala? Nope, it's going to be Lunara. He is adamant not to show off his Vala anymore. Granted, to be honest, Vala is really hard to pull off.
All right.
Actually, with Greymane, Chromie, all the poke coming in.
Not only that, one of the biggest arguments why Vala is currently dropping so far, and I think we haven't really touched upon that since we haven't seen her, double support has fallen off. And Vala was one of those heroes that you'd never wanted to play with a single support. The only times when we, in the past, made an argument that Vala can work with a solo support is when you have at least ETC in your setup, and then maybe another pseudo support that can lend some kind of protection over to you. So getting Vala into a good play without having two supports to keep her alive is incredibly difficult. And I think that's the main reason why she has fallen off so heavily. If we see her again, I would say it's very likely that it's going to be with a double support setup where a team says, okay, we can make her shine in that hyper carry situation.
But do you miss her, Caldor? That's the real question.
Oh, Vala is always my base, so yeah, I'm missing her. But it's okay, she had her...
She had her time.
She had her year in the limelight, she's currently taking a rest, she's chilling. She's currently on vacation, she's sending me postcards every now and then. She's having a lot of fun right now, and she'll be back.
Caldor gets postcards from Vala, wow. So jealous.
Vala was my girl since Alpha, so shush.
All right, fair enough. Well, Muradin will be the final pickup here for Team Liquid. Our teams are set for the final match in its best-of-5 series. Whoever wins will be the one to walk forward with a big victory. Team Liquid has a chance here to start the season with a 2-0, very similar to what we saw in 2017.
Yeah, and we have a nice stun lock out on the Team Liquid side with Uther, with Muradin being around. Then you have Chromie to capitalize on that.
Yeah.
And Divine Shield Greymane is so brutal when he goes up against, let's say, Lunara, for example, or against Hanzo. It's all a question of, can Shat keep these squishy backliners alive? Because if he can, then Team Liquid might be in trouble. And if you look at the setup, it's a little bit interesting because it has a few similarities to the thought process that we saw. We talked about this earlier when Trick played against Zealots, that they had Malthael there who engaged in the team fights very aggressively and then took the pressure and the attention away from the two damage dealers. And that's very similar to what Zealots is currently doing here. But as the game starts, we have on the left side Team Liquid with Hazops on Greymane in our 5th game of the best-of-5. Nurok on Chromie, Eternal on Dehaka, Sport Billy on Muradin, and Splendor on Uther.
On the right side in the red, Zealots. Shad playing the Rhaegar, Chris on Lunara, Mopsio and Johanna, Zarmani playing Malthael and ADRD. Back on Hanzo to end the series.
Once again, the Hanzo play for them. Hanzo, always in the hands of ADRD here. One exception in the last game. And also, noteworthy, this is one of the few games where ETC has made no appearance whatsoever.
Noteworthy as well, change in Hanzo build. W build. Level 1 being picked up. Easy to get stacks, actually, between the middle and the bottom lane. And really good with the Pierce talent at 16 when you're trying to fight over the Giants in the little corridors there where they spawn. We'll see if he's going to go for the full W build overall. So far, ADRD changing it up.
Yeah, ADRD is changing it up and already trying to be a bit annoying with the geometry here. We're having Hazops in the meantime clearing the waves in the middle. So the wave clear is definitely one of the aspects that we have to watch out for, because that allows for the quick rotations between the lanes and allows you to put the pressure in. Really actually taking a bit of damage here, but it still helps him to stack his quest, making sure that he gets those quick attacks in. And already the focus onto the mercenary camps from both of the teams. With the changes that came into the game, we have now at 1 minute the camp spawning, and that's exactly what both of them try to capitalize on. Rhaegar is taking the one to the right with the help of Hanzo, and to the left side we see Splendor and Hazops busying themselves on the Siege Giants.
And Sport Billy is important here. You see how he's in the middle of the map. He once scouted the Giants on the right side, and then he immediately went and found Johanna. If there was going to be an invade of any point, it would be led by the Johanna. So him finding her, locking her down, putting out a Stormbolt, made sure Team Liquid got their Giants as well as the Zealots. So now they fight over the bottom, which usually will favor the Chromie here, with the Chromie having the poke.
I'm really liking still that Vision aspect of Hanzo in general. It's such a fantastic tool. Vision is something that we always talk about when it's try to hide, try to set up a trap for your opponent, detect the rotations, face-checking bushes, has been massive talking points in the last year. And we see something similar here now too. Zarmani, on the other hand, he's in trouble. Keeps himself alive with a Q spam and is able to get out as Dehaka falls. That was clutch.
Is it just me, or is Zarmani having a really good day today, man? He has made a lot of plays in these last 5 games, and he's always been a great player that I've kept an eye on, but he has shown it on different heroes here, on Dehaka, Malthael, Sonya. The guy is just a killer top laner.
All right, I agree with you that he had definitely a couple of really amazing moments over the last 2 days, but in that last instance, he just got That was just luck. That you can't tell me that was calculated.
I mean, he read the Murden jump coming up on the top right corner.
Yeah, that was
dodged
cool.
down it.
Okay, yeah, there was a lot of. He could have died several times in that case where he showed really good awareness and made sure that he didn't die, and then he got a little bit lucky too. So yeah, it was both.
I like it.
It was really well done still, and he had a couple of moments here today. I come back to one of the great traps that he had against Malfurion in the Sky Temple match between the two teams, where he had an insanely good flank, hit the isolation, shut everything down on Malfurion, and then even got the dragon that resulted in his death. So yeah, he had really good moments over the last 2 days.
Well, back to the game at the moment. Zealots have gotten a lead in experience, and they were going for a dragon. Sportbilly delays long enough in the middle, while Dahaka takes over the top shrine to prevent said dragon from going over. ADRD hops in for the aggressive play against Nurok, wanting to possibly bounce that Scatter off the wall and land on top of the Chromie, but the time trap denies it.
Chromie's time traps are one of the most annoying things in the entire game.
I sort of disagree with you. Junkrat is the most annoying thing. At least you can kill time traps. You can against Junkrat. He just throws down his thing. Oh, that's his space. He owns it until you have a tank that comes and walks over it.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I still hate Chromie more. Time traps are just annoying. He's like, I'm out. Especially when one of these pesky ones that just like specs fully into it.
Yeah, like, the slow at 7. Oh,
doesn't the 20? I mean, it doesn't even matter if it wins or not. It's just annoying.
It does also pair with level 18 anomaly, so you can slow down for 6 seconds if they walk over and over and over.
Yeah, fantastic. Of course, that's the build to enjoy. Why am I not surprised?
That build is not trolly. That build is amazing. 7-7 for our teams. Team Liquid making some aggressive advancements right now to set up for the dragon in the middle of the map. Murden and Johanna fighting over it. Sportbilly unable to grab it with the minions also helping out in the delay. But both these teams holding on so far. 2 kills in favor of the Zealots as they have gotten a few pickups. But in terms of map control, Team Liquid's done a really good job on grabbing these mercenary camps.
Yeah, Team Liquid has also a few moments where they got a bit unlucky with getting a kill. It was earlier when Chromie tried to take down an ADRD and just barely missed and wasn't able to deliver there on the final blow. So it was a bit unlucky. But yeah, let's see how exactly this is going to work out for the Zealots now, because they're actually starting to head straight into an early level 10, and if they grab a Dragonite with that, they could really start to pull ahead a bit. But in the meantime, Liquid is capitalizing on the mercenaries that you just pointed out.
Yeah, and Hanzo, with his W build too, has been focusing on clearing up the camps as well. He can do everything by himself except for the night camp. He'll take some damage and get down to low health, and if he's invaded, he will die. So he may need some assistance there, but the W build is great for just clearing camps, and if he stays on top of that, he should be able to keep his team in a favorable position with keeping those mercs pushing.
Once again, we have control over the shrines now in the hands of Team Liquid. It's at level 10 that I really have my eyes on. I want to see if Zealots are able to get something done with that heroic. If they're able to use that time window that they have there to grab a Dragonite for themselves, or maybe even force a fight. Because Liquid still has very good potential to just blow someone out of the waters here, but that battle between Dahaka and Malthael at the top, that should basically guarantee them at least one shrine. If they then move bot and are able to grab the second one, then it's only Chromie that can maybe delay the grab in the middle on the DK itself.
Yeah, Chromie is definitely the benefacting factor here for Team Liquid to prevent Zealots from grabbing. With the slowing sounds on the right and the time trap, you see they can't really invade on that side, nor can they really escape in that route. So they have to have a few more members down in the area to make sure no one does get picked off. Finally, oh no, not finally, Rhaegar was about to grab the shrine, but he walks into that time trap you were talking about.
Yeah, Grayman was already at the top. So the 10 advantage goes to Zealots for a few seconds, but as you can see, there's just nothing they can do with it. There was no opportunity that Team Liquid gave them, and they didn't rotate aggressively towards the Dragonite, so they're willing to let that go for now. But that also means that Team Liquid still has time to catch up on that again. Billy is still stacking his Q, making sure that he gets one Stormbolt after another in to get that process done. And it's been a little bit of a quiet 5th game here outside of those 2 early kills.
Yeah, it certainly has. Zealots have gotten a slight lead by taking out the middle turrets, which is impressive. Helpful too with the Johanna. Chris comes down, looking at Splendor, hoping to poke him down. A Dragon's Arrow will connect, but Splendor is able to walk away fine. Hasselhoff's maybe not so lucky. Splendor starting to show the weakness that Uther has against Lenara poke.
Yeah, he wasn't forced to go for the Divine Shield. It was actually one of those moments where now that we have 10, we can also see Greymane pop off once that Splendor enables, of course. the quick moves in with his own heroic ability. But right now, it's still this poke battle, and you've been talking a bit about the poison damage in general. That's not only something that affects Lunara, it affects Malthael too. Shet, on the other hand, gets body blocked from two sides, gets taken out, and here comes a potential second kill as ADRD is dropped as well. The poison damage hurts, but it's not enough to deliver the final blow.
Bit of a confusing play there from Shad, but a great play from Team Liquid. Setting up the kill, poking down the Rhaegar, even using a big combo from Nurok. Rhaegar assuming that he could dodge enough on the bottom side, but with the slowing sands being up and Uther coming in, Tahaka had ease in pickings. Then they allowed him to move in for ADRD and get a total of 3 kills off of 1 mistake.
Yeah, the 3 kills were great. The question is just like, in the late game, with scaling and with Lunara and Malthael on the side, I think it's gonna be a little bit rough for Team Liquid to fight any kind of sustained fight. Because the longer it lasts, the more trouble Uther is going to have. And that will be a massive issue for them once that Malthael and Lunara start to pop off.
ADRD does stop the Dragon Chain on the middle with the Dragon's Arrow. When Team Liquid bringing some members down, Dragon goes over. And Team Liquid will get the first of the game and start moving forward. Zealots, we'll see if they get that team fight you were talking about, as they have a chance here.
If they get a good team fight and they can take a long one, then I really feel they have a massive edge over their opponent. But if it ever comes to that point, that's a different question. Unfair advantage now taken on Lunara. Not heading into any defensive measures on their part. So this is going to be very squishy for her. Needs to be careful. But with everything that they are running here, the damage output that they have, especially over time, is going to be pretty brutal. So that's something that Team Liquid needs to keep their eyes on.
A trap set for Zarmany, but Zarmany does not bite. Reading that a few were off the map. He comes in and pokes a little bit on hostiles, but does nothing that's too aggressive. Nothing to work in an auto attack. Being fine with just taking the trades that hostile is giving him, and he's able to survive the push that came his way. However, the Dragon on the bottom has gotten damage on the fort.
I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't go for Greater Spell Shield on Lunara. I really think that as long as you survive, you have enough damage output on the heroes that you hold there to win these fights pretty handily, that the extra damage was not really needed to that extent. That just survival alone would already guarantee you a long team fight. And I would be a bit afraid that once that the Divine Shield hits Greymane or that Chromie combo, that you're already finding yourself low. But it depends all on the angle for the team fight later on. Zealots have a lot of potential to win those if it comes to these 5 versus 5s, but it's that global that we see on the side of Team Liquid that should give them a little bit of a pause.
Hang on, Zealots are wanting to invade. They're moving in on the Giants here. Tahaka's still on the top. Let's see if he's going to come in here and try and force a fight. Mopsio grabs the Giant point, and it has been decided by Team Liquid to go ahead and give it up.
That's not where you want to fight if you're them.
Yeah.
Like these corridors over here, where you can get full value out of the Thornwood Wines, the Blessed Shield, where Tormented Souls can be popped off. This is definitely not the area where Team Liquid wants to fight a battle. Yes, there are a couple of aspects that they can use themselves with AoE, but overall, this is definitely not where you think, okay, this is going to be where I may win my team fight. So it was good from them to just give it up. It was definitely one of those annoying decisions that you sometimes have to make, but it was a good one for sure.
But in terms of experience, look at him. Both of our teams moving towards the level 16. You mentioned it earlier, bit of a slow game. We've had a couple of spikes and kills, a 3 for Team Liquid at once, the 2 individual pickups from the Zealots, but nothing more since then. With his next Shrine activating, you should see the pace pick up a little bit more, especially with the Nara getting that extra range.
Yeah, it's just overall that I feel the Zealots are benefiting from that situation. The one big argument against them is that in the late game, the Haka is going to shine even more with the global aspect of the game. But just pure team fighting, unless Team Liquid gets that early kill against a specific target with maybe a good setup through a double stun with Uther and Muradin, outside of that, they should struggle in straight up 5 versus 5 fights. So I would expect them to try and avoid those and instead just focus on macro game overall and try to maybe pressure with camps, make sure that they get those shrines and then head into another Dragon Knight.
I think it will get a little bit easier with Endurable Anomaly at 18. Having 3 traps being tossed down is fantastic for stopping Malthael from getting the dive he wants, and he can poke the targets he wants.
Nice. That was actually really well done. The entire time I was already looking at Eternal, and I really loved how he was always weaving from the left to the right to the left, making sure that Johanna couldn't get that angle around so that she gets the Blessed Shield in. And at some point he finally decides, okay, I can commit to the burrow. And then we have that arrow also coming a bit too late. That looked really good. That's one of those moments where Eternal is just like, oh yeah, guys, yeah, they don't have anything. Don't worry, I got this.
He survives, and they get a night camp.
Yeah, they did. That was really, really well done.
Ooh, maybe Chromie. Okay, to be able to pull away. Always so worrisome, but with the main damage on the bottom side clearing up the night camp, Chromie is just fine. Johanna able to escape too. Wow, this is actually a really hard engage for Team Liquid. They cannot force the fights.
Yeah, Liquid doesn't really want to fight. In an ideal world, they would dodge team fights and just simply outplay the opponent with poke and with the global on the Haka. And the question is, can they do that? Johanna needs to be a bit cautious. Lunara is also only on 50% HP, had a bit of an exchange with Greymane. Both of them are actually dropping low. But any kind of like actual team fights is dangerous for Team Liquid.
Johanna continues to get bullied. I'm just staring at this map, man, waiting for that moment where one of these teams picks a decision to go in for a hard engage. But Johanna's hard to jump on, obviously, as you've mentioned, especially the blinds coming in, making it harder for Murden to even get the damage in he wants. Iron Skin stops the Stormbolt. Big scatter arrows there on Hasawabs.
The big problem is really the heals.
Yeah.
You have Uther, and as we just saw, Hanzo already delivers so much damage with those arrows if he hits them, and now just figure in the poison of Lunara with Thornwood Mines and drop Zarmony with Tormented Souls on top of that, and all of a sudden you realize how much of a problem Team Liquid has in a long team fight.
Oh!
They need to win those fast. Divine Shield is out, and that's their panic button. At that point, they're going in, and Chromie's down. Chromie's down, and Splendor is in trouble. And they can go for the camp here as well.
Yep, going for the camp. The shrines have been activated by Team Liquid. Zarmy's going to stay in the middle just to make sure that no one can sneak that dragon. They grab the Giants, and now Zealots can make their play.
Yeah, the thing is that the Haka still got the experience at the top and pushed in towards the fort, but overall, it's absolutely fine for them. Zealots get the kill. 3 kills against 3 right now. Oh, the damage output against Hazu! And he tries to get a counter kill here with Sport Billy, but he is down as well. And now all of a sudden the Zealots are on the move, and that's the momentum they needed.
I really actually like the synergy between Lunara slowing down a target and Hanzo being able to get that scatter arrow. It's much easier to line that up when your target is slowed down. He nailed Greymane with the help of Lunara, and they get another pick. And they're just pushing down the bottom lane. They don't care about the dragon.
Yeah, they have a rough time going for the dragon. The dragon is actually caught by the Haka right now. The Haka is moving in and sneaks it. The problem is, what are you going to do with it? Because the first thing that's going to happen here is the keep is going to fall. And then the dragon can move in from behind. Needs to be careful there, actually. But look at experience. A level lead. And we are still looking at that scenario where it's too difficult for Team Liquid to actually fight team fights. This one with that angle that we have with the pun getting Rega out of the mix, that might be enough.
He's under a fort. He's slowed. Can he get out?
Oh my god, that was
the wall.
so good.
Shad, able to escape.
Uses the wall to leap towards it, and in the same move, dodges the Stormbolt.
Shad the legend. I've been telling you for months. Been telling you for months.
Yeah, I never knew the kid before he told me about it. Where's this guy from again?
Not America.
Wait, you actually don't know?
I don't know, actually. Tell me.
He's from Spain.
He's from Spain. Thank you. There we go. Today we learned something. Thanks, Caldor.
His girlfriend actually lives in Germany right now. Studies in Düsseldorf.
Wow, you just know so much.
Which is why sometimes he actually even comes over to Germany for a bit, yeah?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Fancy knowledge bombs being dropped. 20 about to be hit by Zealots, though.
Yeah, and again, I don't think that Team Liquid can fight a team fight. It's really a massive problem with the heals that they have. And if you think about that, if you think about this one aspect of the composition at this point, then it's pretty much explanatory why Team Liquid played that way. They're currently playing the macro game. And Zealots, they are not even willing to engage in that in any way. They get a kill and they immediately say, okay, now we can push. You want to fight us? That's totally fine. Come on and fight us whenever you want, because we can rip you boys apart. As long as you don't get an insta-kill against Hanzo or against Lunara, we are fine. If you don't flank us and you don't get that immediate kill against one of those damage dealers in the back, then we are Gucci.
I honestly feel like the poke now for Zealots with this level 16 pickup by Hanzo and of Lunara hitting all her power spikes is actually better than what Team Liquid has. Constant auto attacks allows for Hanzo to keep resetting that W. He can fling it out constantly. The damage is great, especially in chokes because of the Pierce. Zealots are terrifying right now.
Yeah, they definitely are. This comp is so powerful. Interesting Iron Skin. Not sure if that was needed. popping that. Top 4, by the way, is going to fall. So Team Liquid is still playing the global card. It's not like they can't win this. It's just rough for them to engage into a team fight. The longer they play this global game, the better for them. If they can play around the opponent, that's also fantastic. And if they at any point get that one kill, then they can carry momentum. So it's not like they are helpless or anything.
Big arrow comes out, lands on 2, massive stun, scatter arrows connecting already, and here's Malthiel with Tormented Souls already on the back line. Can he get the procs that he wants? Uther will fall, so he's going to continue to heal on the backside. Zomni getting a little bit lower.
It's actually amazing how long Muradin survived through all of this. He was basically already dead. It's at this point, Malthiel is down. No kill against Liquid right now. Splendor is about to fall. He's dying. Nix's 20, and there's Johanna falling. Liquid is actually doing work here. And there is still a top camp that is pushing towards the keep.
And Malthiel not getting the buyback. He got the carpet instead at level 20. So now Malthiel won't be back in the fight. They also get a big pickup on the Johanna because of that drag for Eternal, actually. So only one member down, a 2-for-1 trade, and we just have the Shrine spawn. So we can have a drag and grab from Team Liquid, and this is where they can start to open up the map. Maybe play it a bit slow. You don't have a healer here for 30 more seconds, but they've made major progress in that fight.
Yeah, a lot of this was just simply because they didn't confirm the kills. Zealots went in with a massive, massive arrow, double stun through Hanzo, and he looked fantastic. Everybody was low. Malthiel pops his Tormented Soul, but they don't confirm the kill. So there were 2 heroes that were insanely low, and they thought, okay, we can kill 3 now. And instead of killing 3, they killed 1. So that was a massive problem that they had there. If they would have just confirmed the kills and made sure that they had that lead, that would be great for them. But Team Liquid painted that perfectly in that situation. They realized what was happening, got the double kill, and now they get a Dragon Knight on the back of it. They still suffer from the keep that was taken out at the bot lane, but at least they are still in a situation where they can say, hey, if we play this right, we still win this. Yes, team fights are rough for us, but we have some tools that we can use that they struggle against.
I do like how Zealots came out and got a little bit of damage on this Dragon Knight before Uther did spawn. The moment he spawned, they did pull back and they played it safe. And now it's all about poking and trying to get rid of this dragon before it does any damage to the keep. Chromie poke is not available as Chromie is in the dragons. The most poke you get is from the cocktails from Greymane.
Yeah, and Greymane's cocktails, he just completed the quest. And you might look at this and think, hey, 20 minutes in, oh my god, that took him ages. But if you think about how the game went, it's pretty understandable. They've been dodging team fights for a long, long time. So now he finally has a higher damage output as well. It's only natural that the way this game was going, he needs more time to complete the quest.
They're going to split and allow Dahaka to continue pushing on the top side. Chromie is going to be coming out of the dragons, about to expire. And we're going to reset once again back to where we were earlier. Zealots have yet to lose a keep. They have catapult pressure on the bottom side. And now they have another chance to choose the correct team fight against Team Liquid. Can Team Liquid defend once more?
It's really a cool game. It's maybe a bit of a slower game and not as team fight heavy as others that we enjoyed so far that were really entertaining. But you have to think about where we are. It's the 5th game, and yes, we are at the beginning of HGC Europe 2018. But it's still, those are 2 teams that could very well be the 2 teams that have to decide amongst each other who goes to an offline event.
Sure.
And at this point, everyone wants to make sure that in a direct comparison, you have the edge. This game could matter so much. The 5th map, and it's all or nothing at this point right now. Zealots in a situation where they have the better teamfight potential, Liquid with the global, and also some really good rotations, good wave clear as well for the camps where they try to apply pressure to those lanes. There's a lot on the line here already, even though we just started into the HGC.
And you bring up all those points, and it can all come down to 1 dragon now. As we approach 22 minutes, level 22 between both of our teams. They are desperately trying to clear lanes and get things on their side of the map. They want to paint the map blue if you're Team Liquid. Paint it red if you're Zealots. Get things moving in your advantage. That way you can go for the dragon.
I absolutely love games that go past 20 in Heroes of the Storm. It's always so much fun. How
intense.
How strong this... Exactly. Any moment, the game can flip, and that's something that we are looking out for here. So once again, the team's sharking around here, playing with vision a bit as well, keeping heroes hidden and trying to see, okay, does someone maybe run into a trap here? And Chromie alone with her 18, her 20, that alone has such a huge impact on the mobility of heroes in those team fights that you can just do so much work. I'm hyped for this. I'm really, really hyped for this. Poke the entire time. Zealots, of course, also with Malthael, who's a huge asset right now. But there's the Shrines active again, and now we're talking Dragonite, and this could be a game-ending one.
Dahaka playing very smart right now. Most of Team Liquid's gameplay is centered around the level 20 pocket of time for Chromie, as well as the time trap. Everything they do is anchored to her.
I love the sound bites. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
The entire time here. Someone is really excited. But yeah, let's see how this is going to work out. In the time traps, as you said. But look at the Haka. There's the global card that we've been talking about at the top. Eternal, slowly and steadily putting the pressure onto the keep. And that's the big problem that the Zealots have, that they have to face off against the global. And what happens once that Malthael starts to make his way up to the top? Liquid immediately engages at the bottom. And Dahaka moves away, moves back in. The entire time, he's just ping-ponging up there.
That one ability was actually empowered by Time Walker's Pursuit. They were able to see all 5 in the middle with that Time Walkers, and that allowed for Dahaka to move up and get that damage in. But you're right, the moment they disappeared, Malthael starting to retreat, Dahaka pulls away, and they're going to play around that, playing with vision. You can see how that talent brings so much value to a team if you're able to utilize it correctly.
This is just absolutely cool from Liquid right now. They are playing, again, it's a tightrope act that they have here right now, and they need to be careful. But once again, we have it at the top. Dahaka could make his move to the bot lane, and that's what he does. He misses the isolation, though. Isolation is missed, and he does not connect the drag. Malthael on the way back down. He's in the middle. There's no one to take the Dragonite, and we already have Team Liquid moving. Malthael actually turning around, making sure that he first of all sees, is there someone on the way in the middle, and then head to the top and try to get the Dragonite.
And Chris just hammered on Hasu during that entire fight. The moment the isolation miss allowed for his team to turn around and force a fight.
Dahaka can't fight that at the top.
He can't fight the Malthael. Is he going to try to? He's got to be careful here.
There's no way he can do that on his own.
Chromie's rotating up, as well as the rest of the team for Team Liquid. The poke comes out. The rest of Zealots are being held back by Sport Billy in the middle as Murden. He has to be careful not to get caught off.
Yeah, and here comes everybody. And they are
Frag,
super
stun,
early, and there we go. He is down. Stayed too long. He should have known at a moment. And at this point now, it's a 5 versus 4. That might be the one deciding kill in the game.
Malthael's trying to get Hasu up. If they can get Hasu up, they're in a good spot, but they don't. He sneaks out, and Thurno lands the drag this time. And immediately, Johanna takes damage, and she's gone.
Double kill. Liquid. Liquid gets the 2 kills, the isolated kills that we've been talking about earlier, and that might be all that they needed here. It's another 35 seconds until Malthael is back, 50 until Johanna reappears, and they're trying to somehow get a shrine. They don't get it. There's the Cleanse the Ancestral, both out. Hazops is low, gets the Divine Shield. Splendor comes in, the stun hits Muradin. 80 already moves in 2. Splendor still has his 20, and there's the kill against Rhaegar. This is looking grim for the Zealots. 3 heroes down. The Dragonite up for grabs. Yes, there's a few Siege Giants on the core of Team Liquid, but they have control over the entire map right now.
They're going to try and grab Mercenary Camp so they have some consolation prize that can push on the opposing lane. Maybe try to keep Dahaka out of the fight. Chris and Hanzo do pull away.
Look at the damage against the core. 30% lost thanks to the 2 Siege Giants and the Catapult that pushed to the bot lane. But right now, they're going to the top. They want to go for the core. They go for the weakest link, and it's the top key.
This is scary, though. This is a really good spot for Hanzo. Oh, doesn't matter. Malthael gets completely burned down. Poison coming out from Chris. Splendor about to fall victim here. Should have his redemption up and available. Yes, there it is. Hasu continues to take poke. ADRD on a Thurno, but the Dragonite's on the core. Gain number 5, 70%, 60%. It's going down.
It's going down, and they won't
30.
be able to do anything yet. The Dragonite
20,
is too strong.
10.
Team Liquid takes it. They defeat the Zealots with a 3 versus 2 on the final map, with a composition where they play Uther as the solo support against Malthael, Hanzo, and Lunara, and they are able to get the kill. That was pretty tense.
That was a brilliant late game from them, especially in the bottom left, where that Dragon's Arrow came in and hit 2 members. Lunara, Malthael moving forward in a choke, where Hanzo with Scatter Arrow is disgusting. I thought the game was over there, but they somehow held on and turned it around.
To be honest, once that we had the move where Dahaka, we have the ping pong at the top. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And then Dahaka says, okay, boys, we fight the fight. Burrows down, and the first thing that happens, dodge on the isolation, so he doesn't get the connect there. And then shortly after that, the Tong is also not connected. So at that moment, Zealots up in a perfect position. They're like, we have everything. First of all, the threat of the offlane of the global is eliminated. That's not an issue anymore. Second of all, they just use cooldowns. We didn't. And then they got too greedy. At that moment, if they just play this a little bit slower and maybe don't focus so heavily on the Dragon Knight, they are absolutely good. But they sent Malthael top, which in itself is not an issue. But once that Dehaka comes in, all of a sudden he's trapped at the top. And he knows, he wants to go to the side, but he knows there's a drag coming at some point. And Eternal is just waiting to unleash the Chong. So he just bounces back and forth, and that gives the team enough time to move in. The rotation of the Zealots was not fast enough, so that one move was a little bit too greedy, where they said, get the top shrine, then we get the Dragon Knight, and at that point he dies, and that's all that Team Liquid needed. One single kill.
All 5 team members really helped out in that play too. Sportbilly in the middle, stopping Johanna and the rest of the crew from moving in, and baiting the idea that maybe they could kill Muradin allowed for that rotation to be 2 to 3 seconds off. Imagine if we had actually had Zealots come up to the top there and actually defend against their opponent. Great play there by Team Liquid, understanding their win condition, but also finding moments to give themselves the big victory. And now Team Liquid, very similar to 2017, has started the season with a 2-0. Pretty impressive.
That was an important one. Again,